The mind is everything. What you think, you become. If every dollar in the world were evenly distributed today, within just a few years, the wealthy would be wealthy again, and the poor would return to struggle. Why? Because money alone does not create wealth, but mindset does. Most people believe that financial success is about luck, inheritance, or working harder. But if that were true, why do so many lottery winners go broke? Why do high-income earners still live paycheck to paycheck? The answer is simple. They never learn to think like the wealthy. Wealth is not just about how much you make. It's about how you think, how you see opportunities, how you manage risk, and how you take action. On the other hand, the poor mindset operates in fear, scarcity, and excuses. It says, I can't afford that. Instead of asking, how can I afford that? It waits for opportunities instead of creating them. It spends every dollar instead of multiplying it. The truth is, if you don't change your thinking, no amount of money will ever be enough. But if you learn to think like the rich, you can escape financial struggle and build lasting wealth. Today, I'm going to show you how to rewire your mind for financial success. Break free from limiting beliefs and start seeing money the way wealthy people do. Stay with me for the next few minutes as I take you through the key principles that separate the rich from the poor. Principles that can change your financial future forever. Let's dive in. Number 1. The poor mindset versus the rich mindset. Your bank account is a reflection of your mindset. It is not about where you were born, how much you currently make, or the economic conditions around you. It is about how you think. There is a reason why two people starting from the same position can end up in completely different financial realities. One becomes wealthy while the other struggles. The difference? Mindset. A poor mindset operates in scarcity. It sees obstacles instead of opportunities. It makes excuses instead of taking action. It is built on fear, limitation, and short-term gratification. People with a poor mindset focus on surviving rather than thriving. They believe money is hard to get, that wealth is for other people, and that they are victims of their circumstances. They say things like, I'm just not good with money. Rich people are greedy. Money doesn't grow on trees. This mindset keeps them stuck, no matter how much money they make. Even if they receive a windfall, a raise, a bonus, or even lottery winnings, they eventually find a way to lose it. Why? Because their internal belief system is programmed for financial struggle. They spend everything they earn. They avoid risk. They settle for less because they believe it's all they can have. On the other hand, a rich mindset operates in abundance. It sees challenges as opportunities, setbacks as lessons, and wealth as something that can be created, not something that is only given to the lucky few. The rich mindset asks different questions. How can I afford this? How can I create more value? What skills do I need to develop to increase my income? People with a rich mindset don't just work for money. They make money work for them. They understand that wealth is created through knowledge, action, and discipline. They take responsibility for their financial future instead of blaming the economy, their upbringing, or their employer. Instead of spending every dollar they make, they save, invest, and build assets. Think about this. Have you ever noticed how wealthy people see money differently? While the poor see money as something to be spent, the wealthy see money as something to be grown. While the poor focus on getting paid, the rich focus on creating income streams. While the poor fear loss, the rich embrace calculated risk. This shift in thinking changes everything. If you believe you are destined to struggle, you will always find ways to stay broke. But if you believe you are capable of earning, growing, and managing wealth, your actions will follow. You will start seeking out knowledge. You will take smart financial risks. You will develop habits that lead to abundance. So ask yourself, are you operating with a poor mindset or a rich mindset? If you are not where you want to be financially, it is not because you are unlucky. It is because your mindset needs to change. And the good news, you can rewire your thinking starting today. The moment you begin thinking like the rich, your financial future begins to change. Number 2, your financial thermostat. Why do you keep ending up at the same money level? Have you ever wondered why some people seem to stay stuck at the same financial level year after year, no matter how hard they work? Why do some people, no matter how much money they come across, whether it's a raise, a bonus, or even lottery winnings, always find a way to lose it? Meanwhile, others, even after losing everything, find a way to rebuild and rise again. The answer lies in something most people never think about: their financial thermostat. Your financial thermostat is an invisible setting in your subconscious that determines how much money you are comfortable having. Just like a thermostat in your home controls the temperature, turning on the air conditioning when it gets too hot or the heater when it gets too cold, your financial thermostat controls your income and wealth. If your financial thermostat is set at $50,000 a year, no matter what happens, you will always return to that level. If you suddenly make $100,000, you'll find a way to spend or lose the extra. If you fall below $50,000, you will work hard to get back to your set level. This is why so many people who get sudden financial windfalls, whether through an inheritance, lottery winnings, or a big promotion, often lose it all within a few years. Their thermostat wasn't set for that level of wealth, so they unconsciously sabotage themselves until they return to what feels normal. On the other hand, millionaires who lose everything often rebuild quickly. Their financial thermostat is set at a higher level, so their subconscious mind drives them to take the actions necessary to restore their wealth. This thermostat is programmed by your beliefs about money, which are shaped by your upbringing, environment, and experiences. If you grew up hearing phrases like, "Money is hard to come by," "Rich people are greedy," or "We're just not the kind of people who get rich," your thermostat is likely set low. You may not even realize it, but deep down, you believe that making a lot of money is difficult, or that wealth isn't meant for people like you. These beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies. If you believe wealth is out of reach, you will unconsciously act in ways that keep you financially limited. On the other hand, people who are raised in environments where wealth is seen as normal, where financial success is expected and discussed, have their thermostat set higher. They are comfortable with money. They see it as a tool, not something to be feared. They don't panic when they make a lot of money, and they don't settle for financial struggle. Their financial thermostat is programmed for success, and their actions follow accordingly. The good news is, just like a real thermostat, your financial setting can be changed. You are not doomed to stay at your current income level forever. The first step is to recognize where your thermostat is set. Look at your financial history. Have you been stuck at the same income level for years? Do you tend to make money and then lose it just as quickly? Do you struggle to hold on to wealth even when you earn more? If so, your thermostat is keeping you in financial limitation. To reset your financial thermostat, you must change your beliefs about money. Start by surrounding yourself with people who think bigger. If you spend time with people who see $100,000 as a fortune, you will think small. But if you surround yourself with people who see that as a starting point, your expectations will expand. Read books on wealth, listen to financial mentors, and expose yourself to success stories. Reprogram your mind to believe that earning, saving, and investing at a higher level is normal. Another powerful strategy is to stretch your financial comfort zone. If you're used to earning $50,000 a year, challenge yourself to make $60,000. If you normally save 5% of your income, push yourself to save 10%. By gradually increasing your financial expectations, you train your mind to accept a higher level of wealth. Finally, take control of your financial habits. Wealthy people manage their money differently. They track their income, invest a portion of what they make, and think long-term. If you want to raise your financial thermostat, you must develop the habits of people who operate at a higher financial level. The truth is, wealth is not just about making more money, it's about becoming the kind of person who can handle wealth. If you do not change your internal settings, no amount of money will ever be enough. But if you reprogram your financial thermostat, you will find yourself rising to new levels of wealth and success, no matter where you started. Number 3. Money flows to value, not time. One of the biggest misconceptions that keep people trapped in financial struggle is the belief that they are paid for their time. The average person wakes up every morning, trades 8 to 10 hours of their day for a paycheck, and believes that working harder or putting in more hours will eventually lead to wealth. But the truth is, time alone does not create wealth. Value does. If time was the key to financial success, then the hardest working people in the world would be the richest. But we all know that's not the case. There are people who work 60 to 80 hours a week and still struggle to pay their bills, while others work a fraction of that time and generate millions. The difference is simple. The marketplace does not reward time, it rewards value. Think about it. A man flipping burgers and a CEO both work hard, but one earns minimum wage, while the other makes millions. Why? Because the CEO creates and manages far more value than the burger flipper. The person at the top isn't getting paid for working harder. They're getting paid for solving bigger problems, making bigger decisions, and impacting more people. The world rewards those who bring solutions, innovation, and leadership, not those who simply clock in and out. This is why relying solely on working harder is a losing game. There are only so many hours in a day, and if your income is tied directly to the hours you work, you are capped in how much you can earn. The rich understand this, which is why they don't focus on working more. They focus on increasing their value. The question then becomes, how do you increase your value? The answer lies in 3 key areas: skills, problem solving, and leverage. The more valuable you are, the more you earn. If your skill set is easily replaceable, your income will always be low. Think about it. Someone can be trained to flip burgers in a day, which is why that job pays so little. But someone who understands finance, marketing, leadership, or engineering is far harder to replace, which is why those skills command higher incomes. If you want to increase your income, you must develop high-value skills. These could be sales, negotiation, business strategy, investing, or any field where expertise is rare and highly sought after. The marketplace does not reward effort. It rewards results. The person who brings the biggest results earns the biggest paycheck. Look around you. Every wealthy person is simply a problem solver. A doctor solves health problems. A lawyer solves legal problems. An entrepreneur solves business problems. The bigger the problem you solve, the more valuable you become. If you want to earn more, stop asking, how can I make more money? And start asking, what problems can I solve that people are willing to pay for? The wealthiest people in the world didn't become rich by working harder. They became rich by solving problems that affect millions of people. If you can help a business make more money, they will gladly pay you a fortune. If you can create a product that makes life easier, people will line up to buy it. The key is to stop thinking about time and start thinking about results. If you rely only on yourself to generate income, you will always be limited. The rich use leverage. They use technology, teams, investments, and systems to multiply their income without multiplying their time. A person working alone can only do so much. But a person who builds a business, invests in real estate, or creates online content can generate income even when they're not working. This is the difference between working for money and making money work for you. Consider 2 people. One works a regular job, making $50,000 a year. The other builds an online business, writes a book, and invests in real estate. The second person may put in the same amount of effort initially, but over time their income keeps growing on its own, while the first person's income remains stagnant. Most people stay broke because they focus on getting paid for their time instead of their value. They think, if I just work harder, I'll make more. But hard work alone will never lead to wealth. The world pays for value, skills, and solutions, not sweat and effort. So ask yourself, are you focused on working harder, or are you focused on becoming more valuable? If your income hasn't changed much over the years, it's not because the system is fair, it's because you haven't increased the value you bring to the table. The moment you shift from thinking about money in terms of time to thinking about it in terms of value, everything changes. You will no longer be stuck in the cycle of trading hours for dollars. Instead, you will start positioning yourself to earn more, create more, and ultimately build wealth that isn't limited by the clock. Number 4, the power of standards. What you tolerate, you end up with. Your life, including your financial situation, is a reflection of what you have chosen to tolerate. If you look around and see financial struggle, constant stress over bills, and a feeling of never getting ahead, it is not just because of bad luck or external circumstances. It is because, at some level, you have accepted this as your reality. The truth is, people don't get what they want in life. They get what they are willing to demand from themselves. Wealthy people don't tolerate mediocrity in their finances, while those who struggle often settle for just getting by. Most people unknowingly set their financial standards far too low. They accept jobs that pay just enough to survive. They tolerate debt as if it were normal. They let bills pile up, live paycheck to paycheck, and believe this is simply the way life is. But the wealthy think differently. They refuse to accept a life of financial limitation. They hold themselves to higher standards. And because of that, their financial reality is different. Think about it. Why does one person settle for a $40,000 salary while another demands $400,000? It is not just about skills or experience. It is about what they believe they are worth and what they are willing to tolerate. The problem is, many people have never consciously thought about their financial standards. They have been programmed from childhood to accept a certain level of income, a certain lifestyle, and a certain way of handling money. If they grew up seeing financial struggle, they may subconsciously believe that's just how life is. If they were told money is hard to come by or rich people are greedy, then they have internalized those beliefs. And as a result, they never push beyond a certain level. But here's the good news. Your financial standards are not set in stone. They can be raised. And when you raise them, your financial life will follow. Take a moment and think about an area of your life where you have high standards. Maybe it's your health, your work ethic, or your relationships. You might be someone who refuses to be late to a meeting, no matter what. Or maybe you always make sure your home is spotless. These are things you simply don't tolerate being any other way. Now imagine if you applied that same level of non-negotiable standards to your finances. Imagine if you decided you would no longer tolerate struggling to pay bills. Imagine if you decided that living paycheck to paycheck was no longer an option. What would happen? You would begin taking the actions necessary to change your financial future. Raising your financial standards doesn't just mean wanting more money. It means deciding that you will no longer accept anything less than financial success. It means changing your habits, your mindset, and your daily actions. It means refusing to waste money on things that don't serve you. It means committing to saving, investing, and learning how to make money work for you. It means demanding more of yourself, not in a way that makes you stressed, but in a way that forces you to grow. The moment you make that decision, everything changes. The difference between someone who stays broke and someone who becomes wealthy is a wealthy person refuses to accept financial struggle as a permanent state. They take responsibility for their financial future. They don't blame the government, the economy, or their circumstances. They know that they have control, and they act accordingly. They set goals that stretch them. They surround themselves with people who think bigger. They invest in themselves, knowing that the more they grow, the more money they will attract. They treat wealth building as a standard, not an option. Think about a time when you changed your standards in another area of life. Maybe you were in a toxic relationship, and one day you decided you would no longer tolerate being treated that way. Or maybe you struggled with your health until you decided you were going to take control and improve it. When you made that decision, things started to shift. Your financial life is no different. The moment you decide that financial struggle is no longer acceptable, you will begin to find ways to improve your situation. You will start looking for opportunities to earn more. You will develop better financial habits. You will push yourself beyond your current limits. So ask yourself, what financial standards have you been unconsciously accepting? Have you been tolerating low income, financial stress, or bad money habits? If so, it is time to raise your standard. Set a new baseline for yourself. One where financial success is not just something you wish for, but something you expect. Demand more from yourself. Commit to growth. Because the truth is, what you tolerate, you will always end up with. Change your standards, and your financial reality will change with them. Number 5. The rich don't work for money. They make money work for them. Most people spend their entire lives working for money, believing that if they just put in enough hours, stay committed, and work harder, they will eventually get ahead. They wake up early, commute to work, put in long hours, and collect a paycheck at the end of the month, only to do it all over again. But no matter how hard they work, they never seem to reach true financial freedom. Why? Because they are caught in the trap of trading time for money. They believe that working harder is the key to wealth, but in reality, the rich don't work for money. Money works for them. This is the fundamental difference between the wealthy and the struggling. The average person believes that the only way to make money is to work for it. The wealthy understand that money is a tool that should be put to work. The rich don't chase paychecks. They chase assets that generate income for them, whether they are working or not. They invest in businesses, real estate, stocks, and other income-producing assets that allow them to generate wealth even when they sleep. They don't see money as something to be earned and spent. They see it as something to be multiplied. Imagine two people. One is an employee working 50 hours a week, making a decent salary, but every dollar they earn is spent on bills, rent, and expenses. The other is an investor who owns rental properties, stocks, and a business. The investor may work less, but their money is constantly working, bringing in passive income, compounding in investments, and creating wealth. Over time, the employee stays stuck in the cycle of working for a paycheck, while the investor continues to grow richer, even if they decide to take a break or step away from work entirely. This is why you often see wealthy people with more freedom. While most people are stuck in the grind, the rich have set up systems that generate money without them having to be physically present. The reason most people never break free from the paycheck cycle is that they are trained from a young age to think like employees. Society teaches us to get a job, work hard, and save a little, but it never teaches us how to make money work for us. Schools don't teach financial education. They don't show people how to invest, create passive income, or leverage assets. As a result, most people grow up believing that income must come from labor, and they never learn the principles of wealth building. The rich, however, understand that financial freedom is not about working harder. It is about working smarter. They focus on building assets that pay them over and over again, rather than just relying on active income. One of the key principles of making money work for you is leveraging your money to create more money. The wealthy do not just save their money in a bank account, letting it sit idly. They put their money into vehicles that grow over time, investments, businesses, real estate, and other wealth-generating opportunities. Instead of spending their money on liabilities like expensive cars, designer clothes, or luxury vacations that do not provide a return, they use their money to acquire assets that will pay them for years to come. They understand that money should never be stagnant. It should be put to work. The wealthy also understand the power of compounding. Money, when properly invested, can grow exponentially over time. This is why someone who starts investing early can build significant wealth, even if they never earn a high salary. It's not about how much you make, it's about how you use what you make. A person earning $50,000 a year but investing consistently can become wealthier over time than someone earning $200,000 a year who spends everything they make. The difference lies in understanding that money should be directed toward growth, not just consumption. The lesson is clear. If you want to build wealth, you must shift from working for money to making money work for you. This means learning to invest, understanding financial principles, and making conscious decisions about where your money goes. Instead of just focusing on increasing your salary, focus on increasing your assets. Instead of just working harder, work smarter by creating income streams that continue to pay you long after the work is done. So ask yourself, are you working for money, or is money working for you? If you find yourself stuck in the cycle of earning and spending, never getting ahead, it's time to change your approach. Start thinking like the wealthy. Learn about investing, seek out income-generating opportunities, and start putting your money to work. Because the truth is, those who continue trading time for money will always be limited, But those who learn to make money work for them will experience true financial freedom. Number 6. Income alone won't make you rich. You must own assets. Many people believe that the secret to financial success is simply earning more money. They think that if they could just get a higher paying job, a big promotion, or even win the lottery, all their financial problems would be solved. But the truth is, income alone will never make you rich. You can earn a 6-figure salary and still struggle financially if you don't understand the difference between making money and owning assets. The rich don't just focus on how much they earn, they focus on what they own. Take 2 people as an example. One earns $200,000 a year, lives in a luxury home, drives an expensive car, and spends lavishly. They look wealthy on the outside, but every dollar they make is tied up in high expenses, debt payments, and maintaining a lifestyle that demands constant work. The other person earns a modest salary, but prioritizes building assets. They invest in real estate, stocks, and businesses that generate passive income. Over time, the second person becomes wealthy, while the first remains trapped in a cycle of high income, but no wealth. This is why so many professional athletes, entertainers, and high-income earners go broke after making millions. Their problem was never a lack of income. It was a lack of financial intelligence and asset ownership. They treated their income as something to be spent rather than something to be multiplied. Meanwhile, truly wealthy individuals don't just rely on their paychecks. They use their income to buy or build assets that keep paying them, even when they stop working. So what exactly is an asset? Simply put, an asset is anything that puts money into your pocket, while a liability is anything that takes money out. Wealthy people focus on accumulating assets, things that generate money without their direct involvement. These include rental properties, stocks that pay dividends, businesses that operate without them, and investments that grow over time. On the other hand, liabilities are things that cost money without providing a return. Expensive cars, unnecessary debt, luxury purchases, and a lifestyle that eats away at income instead of increasing it. Many people confuse liabilities with assets. They think their house is an asset, but if they're paying a mortgage on it rather than renting it out for income, it's actually a liability. The key to financial success is shifting your focus from just earning money to owning assets that work for you. This means instead of simply spending your income on things that depreciate, you direct a portion of it toward investments that grow. This could be buying rental properties that generate monthly cash flow, investing in dividend-paying stocks, or starting a side business that provides passive income. The goal is to build streams of income that don't require your constant labor. The reason this mindset shift is so important is that income is temporary, but assets are permanent. If you rely solely on your job, what happens when you stop working? What happens if your company downsizes, the economy shifts, or you're unable to continue working at the same level? If you don't have assets, your income stops, and you're left scrambling. But if you have investments that pay you whether you work or not, you create financial security and independence. The rich understand this, which is why they don't just focus on their salaries. They focus on acquiring things that continue to produce wealth for them. Another key principle is that assets grow over time, while income is often limited. When you own a rental property, its value typically increases, and the rental income rises with inflation. When you invest in stocks, their value compounds over the years, and you benefit from dividends and capital appreciation. But a salary? It only increases if your employer decides to give you a raise, and even then it's limited by company budgets and job market conditions. Wealthy individuals take control of their financial future by making sure their money is always working for them. The biggest mistake people make is spending all of their income instead of allocating it to asset building. If you are earning a good salary but have nothing to show for it in terms of assets, you are at financial risk. The goal should be to convert as much of your income into income-generating assets as possible. Every time you get paid, ask yourself, am I using this money to grow my wealth, or am I just spending it? Those who build wealth have a simple formula: earn, invest, reinvest. If you want to achieve financial independence, you must stop thinking like an employee who only works for a paycheck and start thinking like an investor who builds lasting wealth. Instead of asking, how much do I make? Start asking, what do I own that will continue making money for me? This small but powerful shift in mindset is what separates those who struggle financially from those who build real, lasting wealth. The choice is yours. Will you just earn money, or will you build wealth that lasts? Number 7. Build multiple streams of income. Never depend on one source. Most people live their entire lives relying on a single source of income. Their job. They wake up every day, go to work, put in their hours, and collect a paycheck at the end of the month. This paycheck covers their rent or mortgage, bills, groceries, and daily expenses. And if they're lucky, they have a little left over for savings. But here's the problem. When your entire financial well-being is tied to one source of income, you are living on financially unstable ground. The moment that paycheck stops, your entire lifestyle is at risk. If you lose your job, your income disappears. If the company cuts costs, your salary could be reduced. If an economic downturn happens, you could be struggling overnight. The wealthy understand this, which is why they never rely on a single stream of income. They build multiple streams so that if one slows down, the others keep flowing. Think about how dangerous it is to put all your financial security into a single employer. Imagine a farmer who plants only one type of crop. If bad weather destroys that crop, the farmer is left with nothing. But a smart farmer diversifies. He grows multiple types of crops, raises livestock, and finds different ways to generate income. That way, if one fails, the others sustain him. Your financial life should work the same way. If your entire income is coming from just one job, you are at the mercy of circumstances you cannot control. But if you have multiple streams of income, you gain control over your financial future. Wealthy people don't just work for money. They set up systems that make money work for them. They understand that relying on a paycheck is financial gambling. So they create additional streams of income: businesses, investments, rental properties, royalties, side hustles, and more. These different income sources ensure that even if one dries up, they will always have money flowing in. This is why financially successful individuals can weather financial storms, economic recessions, and unexpected life changes. They are not dependent on just one source of income. So how do you start building multiple income streams? The first step is to recognize that there are two types of income: active and passive. Active income is what most people are familiar with. It's the money you earn by trading time for money, like a salary or hourly wage. Passive income, on the other hand, is money that keeps coming in even when you're not actively working. This could be from investments, rental income, royalties, dividends, or online businesses that generate revenue on autopilot. If you want to achieve financial freedom, you must shift your focus from earning money through work to earning money through assets. One of the simplest ways to start building multiple streams of income is to develop a side hustle. This doesn't mean quitting your job immediately, but it does mean looking for ways to generate money outside of your paycheck. It could be freelancing, consulting, starting an online store, or offering a service that people are willing to pay for. Even if it only brings in a few $100s a month at first, the key is getting started. Over time, a small side income can grow into a significant financial cushion, and eventually, it could even replace your main job. Another way to create additional income streams is through investing. Most people work hard for money, but never learn how to make money work for them. The wealthy take a portion of what they earn and put it into assets that grow. This could be stocks that generate dividends, real estate properties that provide rental income, or businesses that produce revenue. The key is to stop spending all of your income and start redirecting some of it into income-producing assets. Even small investments can compound over time and create substantial wealth. If you look at the wealthiest people in the world, you will notice that they all have multiple streams of income. They might have a business, investments, real estate, royalties from intellectual property, and various other sources. This is what gives them financial security and freedom. Even if one business fails or the economy shifts, They always have money coming in from different directions. They don't live in constant fear of losing their job or not being able to pay their bills, because they have created a financial system that works for them. The mistake most people make is believing that a single paycheck is enough. They think that if they just earn more at their job, they will be fine. But income from a job is temporary. It only lasts as long as you are able to work. True wealth comes from building multiple sources of income that continue paying you even when you're not actively working. Imagine waking up and knowing that you have money coming in from different places, your investments, your business, your rental property, without having to clock in at an office. That's the power of multiple income streams. So ask yourself, how many ways is money coming into your life right now? If the answer is only one, it's time to change that. Start looking for ways to diversify your income, whether it's starting a side hustle, investing in income-producing assets, or learning a new skill that allows you to make money in different ways. The goal is to move away from financial dependence on just one paycheck. Because the truth is, financial security doesn't come from working harder at one job. It comes from having multiple income streams that keep flowing, no matter what happens. Number 8. How to spot opportunities where others see obstacles. Most people walk through life believing that opportunities are scarce. They assume that wealth is reserved for the lucky, the privileged, or those born into the right circumstances. They look at successful people and think, they had better connections, or they got lucky. But the truth is, wealth has nothing to do with luck. It has everything to do with your ability to see opportunities where others see obstacles. Opportunities don't always appear as obvious golden doors. They don't come with flashing neon signs that say, "This will make you rich." Instead, opportunities often disguise themselves as problems, challenges, and unmet needs. The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle is that successful people train themselves to spot opportunities while others complain about them. Have you ever noticed that two people can look at the same situation and see completely different things? One person sees difficulty and walks away. The other sees potential and takes action. It's not because the opportunity was different, it's because their mindset was different. The rich develop the ability to ask, how can I solve this? While the poor mindset defaults to this is too hard, or this is just how things are. The biggest companies and wealthiest entrepreneurs in the world didn't get there by chance. They became successful because they identified a problem and created a solution. Think about it. Amazon solved the problem of convenience in shopping, solved the problem of unreliable transportation. Airbnb solved the problem of expensive hotels. These businesses didn't exist until someone looked at a common frustration and asked, what if there was a better way? That simple question is the foundation of every great opportunity. Most people, however, are too focused on surviving to notice the wealth of opportunities around them. They go through life on autopilot, complaining about inconveniences without ever asking if those inconveniences could be turned into something valuable. Instead of recognizing an unmet need as an opportunity, they see it as just another annoyance. This is why the rich keep getting richer. They have trained their minds to see what others ignore. The good news is that you don't need to be a genius or have a special talent to spot opportunities. You simply need to start paying attention. The next time you hear people complaining, take notes. Every frustration, every inefficiency, every gap in the market is a potential opportunity. Ask yourself, what do people constantly struggle with? What services do people wish existed? What common complaints do I hear in my industry, my community, or even in my own life? Once you begin shifting your mindset to look for opportunities instead of obstacles, you will start to see them everywhere. They were always there, you just weren't looking for them. Many successful entrepreneurs started with no money, no special connections, and no advantages. The only thing they had was the ability to recognize an opportunity and the willingness to take action. The reason most people never capitalize on opportunities isn't that they don't exist. It's that they hesitate, doubt themselves, and let the moment pass. By the time they finally decide to act, someone else has already taken the idea and built something successful from it. The key to turning an opportunity into wealth is speed and execution. When you see a potential idea, act on it, research it, test it, and move forward. It doesn't have to be perfect at first. Most successful businesses and investments start small and improve over time. The mistake most people make is waiting for the perfect moment. They think they need more knowledge, more resources, or more experience before they start. But the reality is the perfect moment never comes. Wealthy people take action while others are still waiting. Another important aspect of spotting opportunities is positioning yourself in the right environments. If you spend all your time around people who think small, who complain about the economy, or who believe success is impossible, your mind will be trained to see obstacles instead of opportunities. But if you surround yourself with ambitious people, entrepreneurs, and problem solvers, you will begin to see what they see. You will learn to recognize patterns, trends, and gaps in the market. Think about this. Every breakthrough in history happened because someone looked at the world differently. Where others saw limits, they saw possibilities. Instead of accepting things as they were, they asked, how can this be improved? That simple mindset shift is what separates those who build wealth from those who stay stuck. If you want to start seeing opportunities, you must first believe they exist. You must develop the habit of looking at problems with curiosity instead of frustration. The next time you face an obstacle, instead of complaining, ask yourself, is there a way to turn this into something valuable? Because the truth is, the world is full of problems waiting to be solved, and the people who solve them are the ones who get rich. Number 9, wealth is a skill, and it can be learned. Many people believe that wealth is something you are either born into or stumble upon by luck. They assume that rich people have some natural advantage, an inheritance, special connections, or a stroke of fortune that set them apart. But the truth is, wealth is not a matter of luck. It is a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned, practiced, and mastered. The difference between the wealthy and those who struggle financially is not intelligence, background, or luck. It is knowledge and application. Think about it this way. No one is born knowing how to drive a car. You have to learn the rules of the road, practice behind the wheel, and get comfortable navigating different situations. At first, it feels unnatural, maybe even intimidating, but over time, driving becomes second nature. Wealth works the same way. If you were never taught how to handle money, invest, or create financial opportunities, then of course it feels confusing. But once you start learning and applying the principles of wealth, it becomes second nature. The problem is that most people never take the time to learn about money. They spend years in school, studying math, science, and history, but never a single class on how to manage their finances, invest wisely, or create wealth. They graduate, enter the workforce, and repeat the financial patterns they saw growing up, working for a paycheck, spending everything they earn and never building wealth. Then they wonder why they struggle. But struggling with money is not a sign of fate or bad luck. It is a sign that financial education is missing. The wealthy, on the other hand, treat money like a subject to be studied. They read books on finance, attend seminars, and seek out mentors who can teach them how to grow their wealth. They understand that money has its own set of rules. And if you don't learn those rules, you will always be at a disadvantage. They study investing, they understand cash flow, and they know how to leverage their money to work for them instead of just working for money. This is what separates those who build wealth from those who stay stuck. The willingness to learn and apply financial knowledge. Most people assume that making more money is the solution to their financial problems. But earning more doesn't matter if you don't know how to manage it. There are people who make 6 or even 7 figures and still live paycheck to paycheck because they never learned the habits of wealth. On the other hand, there are those who started with very little, but through smart financial decisions, built lasting prosperity. The difference is not in how much they made, it is in what they did with what they had. Wealthy people know that money is a tool, and if used correctly, it can multiply. They learn the principles of investing, understand the power of compound interest, and make decisions based on long-term financial growth rather than short-term gratification. They know how to protect their money, grow it, and pass it on to future generations. They don't just think about what they can buy today, they think about how they can make their money last a lifetime. If wealth is a skill, then that means anyone can learn it, including you. It doesn't matter where you are starting from. What matters is whether you are willing to invest time and effort into financial education. The first step is changing your mindset about money. Stop thinking of wealth as something for other people and start seeing it as something you can create. Stop making excuses about your circumstances and start learning how to improve them. The information is out there: books, courses, mentorships, and real-world experience. But you have to take the initiative to learn. The next step is applying what you learn. Knowledge without action is useless. Too many people read about money but never take steps to implement what they've learned. They hear about investing but never open an account. They learn about saving but still spend everything they make. They know about wealth-building strategies but never put them into practice. The wealthy don't just acquire knowledge, they apply it. They take action, make adjustments, and keep improving their financial skills over time. Think about this. If you wanted to become fluent in a new language, you wouldn't just read about it, you would practice speaking, writing, and listening until it became natural. Building wealth is the same. You must practice making smart financial decisions, learning from your mistakes, and adjusting your strategy until it becomes second nature. Every wealthy person you see today had to start somewhere. They had to learn, take risks, and apply what they knew. The only difference between them and the average person is that they committed to mastering the skill of wealth. So the question is, are you willing to learn? Are you willing to develop the skill that can change your financial future? Or will you continue believing that wealth is only for the lucky few? Because the truth is, money flows to those who understand how to use it. If you never take the time to learn how to manage, grow, and invest your money, you will always struggle financially, no matter how much you earn. But if you commit to learning, improving, and applying what you know, wealth is within your reach. Wealth is not a mystery, it is not magic. It is not reserved for a select few. It is a skill. And the sooner you start learning, the sooner you can transform your financial future. Number 10. Action is the only thing that separates success from regret. Knowledge is useless without action. You can read every book on wealth, attend every seminar, and listen to every financial expert. But if you never apply what you've learned, nothing will change. The difference between people who build wealth and those who stay stuck in financial struggle is not intelligence, talent, or luck. It is the ability to take action. The world is full of people who have big dreams, great ideas, and plans for a better future. Yet they remain in the same place year after year because they never take the steps necessary to move forward. The truth is, the only thing standing between where you are now and where you want to be financially is the decision to take action. Most people are waiting. They tell themselves, I'll start when I have more money. I'll invest when I feel ready. I'll start my business when the timing is perfect. But the truth is, there is never a perfect time. If you keep waiting for everything to line up, you will be waiting forever. The rich don't wait, they act. They understand that success doesn't come from hesitation, doubt, or procrastination. It comes from taking that first step, even when they don't feel completely ready. Look at the most successful people in any industry. They didn't start with all the answers. They didn't wait until they felt completely confident. They started before they were ready. They took risks, learned through experience, and made adjustments along the way. The problem with most people is that they are afraid to fail, so they never start. But failure is not the enemy, inaction is. Every successful person has faced setbacks, made mistakes, and encountered obstacles, but what separates them from the rest is that they kept going. They learned, adapted, and took another step forward. Fear holds most people back. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of making the wrong decision. But here's the harsh truth. Fear doesn't go away by thinking about it. It only disappears when you take action. The longer you hesitate, the stronger your fear becomes. The only way to overcome fear is to move forward despite it. You don't need to be fearless to succeed. You just need to take action despite your doubts. People assume that wealthy individuals have some special advantage, but the truth is, they just have a different mindset. While the average person sees an opportunity and hesitates, the wealthy see an opportunity and act. They understand that action creates momentum, and momentum leads to results. It doesn't mean they never make mistakes. It means they are willing to learn from those mistakes and keep moving forward. Think about this. If you had started investing 5 years ago, where would you be today? If you had started a side business, built new skills, or worked toward financial independence, how much progress would you have made? The biggest regret most people have is not starting sooner. The years pass whether you take action or not. The question is, will you look back with pride knowing you took steps to change your financial future, or will you look back with regret, wishing you had started earlier? Success doesn't come from waiting, it comes from doing. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. You don't need to have the perfect plan. You just need to take the first step. Maybe it's reading your first book on investing, starting a side hustle, cutting unnecessary expenses, or committing to learning more about financial growth. The important thing is that you start. There is a saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. The same is true for your financial future. If you didn't start earlier, that's okay. But don't waste another year, another month, or another day waiting. Start now, even if it's small. Take action today that will move you closer to financial freedom. The rich understand that time is their most valuable asset, and they don't waste it. They don't sit on the sidelines hoping for a better future. They create it. They don't wait for permission, for perfect conditions, or for someone else to make things happen for them. They take responsibility and take action. So what will you do? Will you continue waiting for the right moment? Or will you start taking control of your financial destiny today? The choice is yours. You can either keep living the same way, making the same financial mistakes, and hoping things will get better on their own, or you can make a decision right now to take action, to learn, to grow, and to build the wealth you deserve. The future is coming whether you take action or not. The only question is, will you be in the same place a year from now, or will you be looking back, grateful that you made the choice to start? Because the only thing that separates success from regret is action. We've uncovered the fundamental differences between how the rich think and how the poor think. We've explored why financial success isn't about luck, intelligence, or working harder. It's about mindset, habits, and the ability to take action. At this point, the question is no longer, can I become wealthy? But rather, will I take the steps to make it happen? Because the truth is, financial success is a choice. The wealthy don't settle for mediocrity. They don't wait for opportunities. They create them. They don't waste years hoping for financial breakthroughs. They take responsibility for their future. They understand that money flows to those who provide value, solve problems, and continuously grow. Meanwhile, those who struggle financially often remain stuck in the cycle of working for money instead of making money work for them. They tolerate low income, overspending, and financial stress as if it were normal. But it doesn't have to be that way. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't intelligence, it's action. You now have the knowledge, but knowledge alone won't change your financial situation. If you don't apply what you've learned, nothing will improve. The years will pass, and you will either look back with pride or with regret. So ask yourself, what will you do with this information? Will you go back to old habits, thinking the same thoughts, making the same financial mistakes? Or will you make a decision right now to change? Start small, but start now. Maybe it's saving a percentage of your income, learning about investing, building a side income, or shifting your mindset from scarcity to abundance. The important thing is to take that first step, because the truth is, your financial future is being decided right now by the actions you take today. Success doesn't happen overnight, but the moment you decide to raise your standards, commit to growth, and take consistent action, everything starts to change. The choice is yours. Will you take control of your financial destiny, or will you continue waiting? Because at the end of the day, the only thing that separates wealth from struggle is one simple thing: action.